So the very first thing I want to talk to you about when it comes to starting your own garden and getting your seeds ready to go is just beginning with the end in mind. So you'll see right here, I've got this map laid out, and that's what I want my garden to look like for my cut flowers by the end of the season. You'll see that I've got it laid out what what plants and varieties I want where. I've kind of spaced them out. I've got a really solid idea. And I've spent some time putting together this booklet with different ideas and different time frames. So that way I've got an idea of what I'm doing and where. So for example, I've got colors, so that way I know what I need to plant color-wise. I've got spacing charts, listing everything out that way. I've separated them out between hardy and foliage, perennial types. And so really I've taken a lot of time here just to get a good idea of what it is that I want to accomplish. And the reason why this is so important is because when you begin with the end in mind, you've got a plan laid out. So for example, when I first started gardening, my goal was always to plant a garden. And so every year I would buy a bunch of seeds, I'd put them in the earth, and then I'd wait/forget about them, and they would all die. And I kept trying this year after year after year, and finally I started getting more success. But thinking about it this year, one thing that I noticed different is that the years that I was more successful were the years that I had a plan beyond just planting the garden. Not that planting a garden is a bad goal, but when you begin thinking about where you want to be at the end of summer, for example, here's a different layout that I've got here. A little bit less detail as the one before. In some ways, and a little bit more detail in terms that I'm throwing in different varieties and color mixes here more than I did previous. But what I found is that as I've come up with a plan of what I want to see at the end, I've been able to get better results. So for example, last year, my main goal was to be able to trellis pumpkins growing up. And because of that, I was very aware of what kind of pumpkins I wanted to get, what kind of plants, what kind of habit I needed to have, trellises. And throughout the season, whenever there were issues like I needed to tie the plants up or I found squash bugs or other things, I was much more willing to get out there and get those things done simply because I knew what I wanted to see at the end of the year. I wanted to see my pumpkins hanging on this 7-foot fence line that I had built for them. So that's what I'm going to encourage you to do just to start off with. It doesn't have to be this in-depth. You don't have to come up with lists of things. All you have to do is say, maybe I want to harvest a tomato plant to be able to snack on during the summer. Maybe your goal is to be able to grow enough green beans to can. Maybe your goal is just to grow some food out there so that when you're hungry or needing ideas for dinner, you can run out, grab a few things, and have your own grocery store to be able to give your family better health and better access to food. Whatever your plan is, just start with an idea in mind, something that's going to get you through those hard days when it's hot, when there's weeds, when there's bugs, something that'll keep you going after that initial excitement of planting a garden. So go ahead and take just a few minutes and figure out what it is that you would like to do. And I'm going to leave this here as well because this is a helpful sheet. It lists out when you should plant everything, before, after the plant dates, and then it's also got a place where you can put a set out, meaning that, for example, with basil, 1 week after, so the last frost date here for my area is about Mother's Day, so I could probably plant these outside the week after Mother's Day, and I could put that here. Just kind of fun little side tip. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of learning how to plant seeds.